My name is Shane Snyder. I'm from Cecil County, Maryland. From Port Deposit. I come from a broken home. A family full of using addicts, and that's all I've known my whole life. My parents were separated, so my grandparents had taken care of me, and it wasn't easy. I grew up with a lot of friends who had family, and I didn't have family like that. It was a lot of chaos, a lot of negativity. I believe when I was a child, I had a normal childhood. My grandparents did the best they could to provide the things that I needed and what my other friends had. They worked very hard to give me what I wanted and what my other friends had. I knew it wasn't a normal childhood when I started going in my mom's room and smelling funny things coming from the room. And, my mom was in my life, but she wasn't in my life. She lived in the same house, so she lived upstairs. And, like I said, I would smell funny things. I'd go up there and investigate and find things, and I'd take it down. I knew it wasn't right, didn't feel right, and I would take paraphernalia down to my grandmother and give it to her. And, I knew around that time it wasn't very normal. Well, we never really had a good relationship, so it didn't really affect it any more than how bad it was already. Being a teenager, it wasn't too bad. My grandparents got me into sports, and I had a good group of friends at that time. Stayed in baseball, and I want to say I was a popular kid, so I had a lot of friends. Let's see, my 9th grade year in high school, I got on varsity baseball and started hanging out with the older kids. And I wanted to just feel a part of, and because I kind of felt left out because I was young. And when they were going to parties, I decided to go to parties too. And I started using, and it all went downhill from there. It was a little bit of peer pressure, but mostly curiosity and just wanting to fit in. What did that do, and why were they doing it? I knew I wouldn't say it never really became normal in my spirit. I just knew it didn't feel right every time I did it. It just became like an every weekend thing. But every weekend, I can say I kind of look forward to it, but I just knew it wasn't right. I believe it's a mental thing. I think that's just like how the disease works. And it comes to the point where you use and you don't want to use, so it's kind of using against your will. If I could pinpoint, I would have the answers. I don't know. I wish I knew what exactly it was. Man, it got to the point where I started using opiate painkillers, and that became an issue. And then I tried moving away from my hometown where everybody used, and I moved to Middletown, Delaware, and I brought my problems with me. I thought that it was just the area at the time. And I get up there and, I was by myself and coming off the opiates, and I found the next best thing, which was heroin for me at the time. And, after using that, I became physically addicted to it. And coming off that was the worst thing. I've been clean for coming up on 10 months. It'll be 10 months to 26. 10 months ago, what happened was, I decided to get one more, a little bit over, coming up 10 months ago, and I was stuck by myself. I got kicked out of my recovery house, and I'm down in the current area I live at, and it was the only time where I'm sitting there by myself crying, wondering why am I doing this again. And it was the first time that I had kind of really surrendered to this whole disease, and I was done, and it was the first time I've ever thrown any drug away. And I was just tired, and I was sick of doing the exact same thing over and over. Evolve was presented to me by Chris as an opportunity to come in and be his assistant. And he told me what the mission was, what they're really trying to do, focus around recovery. And, it sounded great to me, and it was a rent decrease. So it was, it was a pretty cool opportunity. In between was 3 recovery houses until I got to Evolve. I can say my experiences with them is they weren't based around recovery. I was in one house I was the only person clean and not on a maintenance program, and the other house was just downright filthy. And it was all bad experiences, but since I wanted to stay clean, I stayed. There was times at the beginning I was like, you know what, I'd be better off just going back to my home county. But really, it was the friends and the new acquaintances that I got when I came down here that really talked me into staying, and the love that they showed me. And they got to the point where I don't want to leave these people, so I'll do whatever I have to stay down here and just really staying positive and just giving it a chance to see where my life could take me down here. I mean, a lot of the times, you know, I wake up actually every day. I usually don't have the urge or the desire to use, but of course there's been times where, you know, you'll have a bad day and it comes across as a thought, but it's nothing more than a thought, and then it's gone. First off, it's definitely been a process within the 10 months. You know, of course, it's gotten a lot easier, but for me, it was getting involved in a new area. It was getting involved in recovery houses and getting involved with a 12-step program that's taught me how to deal with my problems. My suggestion would be to change their people's places and things, to leave their old environment, to go to a new place where they can start new, in a place that they know nothing about, to get involved in a 12-step fellowship, and to get new friends. I see a bright future. I mean, anything's possible. Every day I got new challenges and new things motivating me. You know, anything's possible going from here. I'm the assistant manager at the men's house. The day for me there, it's great every day. I mean, it presents new challenges every day. I got a lot of guys that we deal with. But I look forward to coming home and hearing their problems and dealing with some of the crazy situations. But believe it or not, while I'm at work, sometimes that's all I look forward to, is coming home and seeing all the guys. I think anything's possible for them. You know, I see Evolve growing, and I feel like as long as they stay involved in the process and involved with Evolve, you know, anything can happen. You know, there's going to be other houses opening up, spots, you know, managerial spots, and anything's possible for them guys as long as they want it and willing to put the work in. For me, it's simple. Evolve is based around recovery. My experience, other houses is not based on recovery. It's more financial, you know, finances that are involved with that. But, you know, we're just trying to do something different there, stay recovery based.